I guess I can make like a more something like that that just sits in you. And I was like, I guess that wouldn't be the worst. Everybody at the gallery is seeing your show. They're all looking like, oh, it's like, I knew Abby and Malaya were there too.
Oh my God! Whoa!
This is like professional practice class.
Oh my God!
No! Freaking way!
Oh my God.
I didn't know that. Wow.
I'll roll down.
All right, good morning. Thank you for joining us for this amazing event. This is definitely one of our strongest groups, so you're really in for a treat, and we couldn't be more proud. My colleagues are here as well. Hillary's filming for us in the back, and Tucker. So those. There are 15 of them, so it is going to take a bit. So feel free to get up. We've got tons of snacks in the back. One thing I need to ask you all is before you leave to sign. There's a clipboard with a sign-in sheet. If you could all sign that before you leave. All right, and I will call up Jacob with me.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for coming tonight. I know you guys got busy schedules. It means the world to us that you guys can be here. Now, let me start off. If I can find them. There we go. Hello, my name is Jacob Neal. I'm an animation interactive design senior, and this is my senior show. This is an overview of what I plan to accomplish. First off, we'll start off with our demo reel, and then I'll show you 3 of my strongest works, and then my capstone. This is why I went first. All right. So for my first project, it's called Fourth Wall. This is a Google Doodle that I did my first couple years at ECU. I think it was my first one. So to start out, this is my storyboards. This is what I initially did to plan out what I wanted to accomplish in my animation. For my animation, we had to choose an important figure or well-known figure. And at the end, we had to incorporate the Google logo in it. So I chose Ichiro Oda, the creator of One Piece, and his main character, Luffy. He's from One Piece. And here we go. Promise I won't play it multiple times. Some reflections. This was kind of one of the first projects I did using digital animation. I had already done more of like 2D animation, but on paper. So this was really helping me learn the programs and understand what I needed to do. To complete this project, I used Adobe Photoshop, which can be used for a variety of projects and whatnot. But crazy enough, you can actually animate in Photoshop, and it is the best program. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Introduced to how to incorporate sound, but I do need to work on movement and timing, but above all, it was a fun project to start out with, and I definitely learned a lot. Project 2, Rainy Day Sheriff. For this we had to complete a game level. We designed all the assets, all the models, and we got introduced to some of the programming. So here's some of the concept art I did. For some context, a lone sheriff frog comes to taking over town, run by evil crows, and must take them down to save all the townsfolk of Pebblefoot. So some of my concept art, we got a little outhouse, the entrance to the town, little saloon, building, barrel, chest, fence, and cacti. Then we got some more sketches. We got the tombstone, my main character sketch, and then like a little cart, and then some of the townsfolk I had, and then some of the main bosses, a gun, and a tree. Some more, another boss, a weight, another boss, more concept designs. Here are my final assets. I rendered them, or I modeled them in Maya, and then put them into Substance Painter, then later exported them into Unreal Engine. Some more. And then my final character with his little cowboy boots, belt, and hat. So adorable. And then my final video. Does not have sound, but get the idea. As you can tell, I'm not the greatest programmer. I don't think I ever will be, but it definitely taught me a lot, definitely taught me patience, and above all, keep pushing forward, never give up. He's so happy, just a little jig. He's showing off some of the mechanics I did. That was a double jump, and he currently has a sprint ability. So yeah, right now it's just scanning the environment, my level that I did. That's it. All right, some reflections. As I said, I'm not a programmer. I'm definitely not good at that, nor do I want to be, but I got to learn, and I feel like it's some helpful skills. Improve my modeling, UVing, and texture skills. For those who don't know, I modeled in Maya, a program that allows you to create 3D models, and then you can export them to make really cool textures and creations for video games. UVing, it was pretty much just like splitting up the model so you can texture it correctly. And then texturing is where you get to paint it and whatnot. Game skills to help further a possible career in game development. Whatever leads me down the path, maybe I'll be a game modeler, but we'll see. And then strengthen my time management skills. Fight night. So for this project, we paired up in groups to create a semester-long film that at the end of the semester we would show to our groups. This film was made by Stefon, Zuri, and Donovan, 2 of our seniors that'll be up here in a minute. And then here's Fight Night. Can't go up anymore. I'm sorry. Apologies for the sound. I need to fix that. Thank you. So here's our main antagonist for Fight Night, the Irish Screwball. He, for this film, we decided that we wanted to go with more of a cheater boxer. He's been a reigning champ for too long and needs to make sure his streak stays going. Here's some of the turnarounds I did for him, and then his roided up version. And here's some more I did of the announcer, the ref baby, and the ring girls. Here's some of the storyboards I did. Some more. And finally some style frames. And then I'll play my part. It's even funnier the second time. Some reflections, better grasp of digital animation. This really taught me about how to manage my time and how much I can get done in a semester. Gain skills in teamwork and leadership. This was the first time I've really taken a leadership role, and I felt like I kind of stepped up to the challenge a little bit, but I still have a lot to work on. And then need to work on script writing, planning, and sound design. Again, sound choices. I should not have too much freedom when I work on sound. And now, for my capstone, Fight Night 2. Team Elves with Guns. Team Elves with Guns reunited again to do a capstone animation of a forgotten character they forgot to add into Fight Night 2, or Fight Night. And then fix the sound real quick. Oh, there we go. There. Here's Fight Night 2.
Hey, you're BB, right? The one everyone's been talking about? The fighter? I've heard a lot about you. Word is, you're the best around here. I think we should put that to the test.
Test what? Am I cooking or are you trying to start something?
I'm challenging you to fight 1 week from today in the ring.
You're joking.
No joke. You and me, You're good. Feeling good. But I've got something to prove too. This isn't a friendly spot. It's not about fun. This is about who's really the top dog. You up for it?
Don't try anything crazy. 1 week. I'll be ready. I'm sorry in advance.
I wouldn't have it any other way. Why would you?
He's nothing, B. Nothing. All right, go. Let him pull every ounce of pain. He thinks he can take you. Show him why you're wrong.
You ready for this, BD? I hope you brought your best, because I'm not going easy on you.
You're faster than him. Smarter. Show him who's in control. Don't let him get a single punch.
You're fast, BB, but you're gonna need more than speed. Damn.
Yeah, that's right. Crush you. You got this. No one can stop you now.
Shut up. Enough.
I'm not done yet, BB.
One day, while unloading stock, I found a shrimp. But not just any shrimp. I don't know why. Something in me needed to believe it more. Then he came back. He found me out about my secret life and came to remind me of what it really was.
You can't say that. She's mine. All mine.
TV, snap out of it. This isn't you.
Doesn't know when to quit.
I'd like to thank Claude, Malaya, Madison, Zuri, Stefon for everything they've done. Without them, this project wouldn't be completed. Nope, we're not playing. All right, so here's some of the character designs. So this is our antagonist, Bibi. She mysteriously finds a shrimp when unpacking cooking supplies, and they form together to form the ultimate boxing team. And our main character, TV Kid, he was originally in the original Fight Night, but got scrapped due to not being in any of the scenes. We thought that we didn't do him any justice and thought maybe him being in a sequel would give him some character and life. And here's some of the additional characters. We have Papa Zuri, the ruthless mob boss, the Irish screwball, he is now a coach and is training TV Kid, Mogman, the notorious boxing legend, and then TV Kid's dad, Beer Dad. The only thing he loves more than beer and his son is the Jets. Our ring girl or referee, BB's dad, and then some of the announcers that were from Fight Night 1. They did not make it to Fight Night 2, sadly. Some of the animatics I did, I thought doing animatics this time around would help me grasp better what I wanted to accomplish in my scene. Animatics are pretty much just storyboards, but in video form. And here's some more. And then this is my part of Fight Night 2. So for Fight Night 2, I took I believe we split it up into about 33 parts. So we each tried to give ourselves even amount of parts, but in the end there were some parts that were left over, so I ended up taking a little more to see the end goal. I believe I took 13, is that right? Yeah, that's not right.
Yeah,
13. Yeah. Thank you for the clarification. I'm not the greatest at counting. some reflections. I definitely got a better grasp of digital animation and 3D animation. All of our backgrounds were done in Maya, and I'd like to thank Stefon for cranking them out. They're all amazing. Gained better knowledge in combining 2D and 3D animation. I've never really combined 2D and 3D before, so it's interesting to see how each one would turn out. And then I just need a plan to fix issues that arise quicker. And I'm glad that we got to do this sequel. It was a lot of fun, and I wouldn't have traded in for anything else. Some closing remarks. A few people I'd thank. I'd like to thank my parents for everything they've done for me. All my professors I've had, Amy, Tucker, Husky, Wayne. You guys are amazing. And then all my classmates. You guys made, I don't think I've ever gone to class excited. And then Team Elves with Guns. You guys are amazing. You guys are the dream. Thank you so much. And then here's my contact info. I am looking for work as soon as I get out of college, so thank you. Next up, y'all know him, y'all love him. Sleep fears him, Stefon.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Stefon Grice. Around the school, you can call me the Steffster or Steff. I am a senior in the Animation Interactive Design program, and I am happy to present to you some of my works that I'm pretty proud of making this semester and all 4 years. Kick things off with a brief overview of what's about to go down. We got a demo reel in place, like usual. Got a ball bounce, a 3D room model made in Maya, Fight Night, and Fight Night 2. So let's get to it.
Can I help you?
Why, yes, Karen. Here's a report. Terrible cry.
So for my first project, I have Deadliest Fetch. Nothing really outstanding. It's just a ball bounce, you know, just some foundational stuff to get you into the groove of learning how to animate, learn how to do your timings, your expressions of squash and stretch, and practicing, well, you know, just foundational things. I think I've said it already. I may have took it a bit of a step further despite beginning animation like freshman college year. So part of the assignment is give it a twist. So I took these two characters I made back in high school and made them play a very serious game of catch. And here's how it turned out. Yeah, we get serious and fall aside. So pretty great. We're going to skip over the fact that it was like 3 weeks late. Oh, arrow keys. All right, second project was Aurora's Experiment Lab. It was a 3D environment exploration made in Maya. And for those who don't know what Maya is, it's basically, as Jake might have explained it briefly before, it's a 3D modeling program that can do a wide variety of things, from creating objects, whole environments and scenes like I'll show you later, as well as creating materials and simulations for cloth, water, fire, the works. And if you need a bigger scope of what Maya can do as a software, Maya is what made the Spider-Verse movies. So if I get good at this, I can join the team before it airs in 2 years. All right, the overall vision for this project was to create this dubious lab of an ethically questionable scientist. So I made another character way back when. She's like this elf lady who wants to explore like the lifespan of the universe. But she's an elf. She only lives for like a couple 100,000 years. So she needs to like work on a way to live a little longer than that. Her greed will sicken us. So in order to study this phenomenon, she's basically making a Frankenstein flesh monstrosity of herself that can adhere to the extremes of space. And to accomplish these things, she basically has a lab that she harvests flesh and stuff from various life forms, mostly kids, to get what she wants for her successful endeavors. And overall, I just wanted to create something futuristic, intimidating, scary, and I think I accomplished that with this like stark contrast between a clean, stereotypical lab, you know, it's got all the tools you need to rip and tear into things, and you got this bloodbath on the other side that she does all of her hands experiments on. Here are some of my favorite screen caps that sort of like encapsulate that point. You got like this funny jar of hands that she pulled off. It's basically the skin of it. It's like gloves, but I couldn't model hands back then, so it's a little bit blocky. And then you got like all these other little tools sitting around, notebooks and little, I forget the word for them, but they're like digital notebooks. You can talk into them. I can't find the words. And not to mention these freaky chambers that she holds that she holds her experiments inside of until she's ready. And here's the overall video that just shows everything inside of it. And that's my work. Really love this project to bits. It kept me up at night. Literally, rendering takes a lot of hours out of you. But it taught me a lot about 3D modeling to the point where I think I enjoy just making scenes in there more than actually drawing them, which will come into play a lot later. All right. Speaking of later, Fight Night. The collaboration project that Jake has so graciously presented to you all. I had a part in it. In the way that we made this, we broke it up into 3 parts. So Jake had part 1, I had the second round and the first water break. Zuri had the 3rd round, and Donovan had the conclusion. And I have storyboards that, oh, I did it again. I have the storyboards that just show like the overall like layout for what I wanted to do in order to make the scenes happen. This was a pretty big task as far as animations go for me. So not everything on the storyboards makes it to the final scene. And throughout the months, I procedurally like cut down things I thought were unnecessary in order to make the deadlines meet. Here's some more storyboards. And yeah, we also did some style frames. So we basically wanted to create like an overall look for how we wanted this whole fight night to look. We kind of strove for the top left corner, which makes it look like an old style staticky TV sort of deal, which looks really cool in the final product. And I'm glad we figured out like a few little tricks in After Effects in order to make it work. I also have an animatic, which basically like breaks down the timings and the sequences from the storyboards in order to make an accurate animation that welds into the final product. So I'm just going to play that for you guys.
We gotta get it to fucking Yemen! You better see me in front of the veins!
So yeah, very different from what we got in the end, but glad we retained most of it. On top of animatics, I also created I made a 3D ring for Fight Night. This didn't get used to the fullest as it will in the sequel when we made new ones, but this is kind of what helped me like lay out the scenes that I wanted in place of actually drawing them in, because it was at this point where I realized I didn't like drawing backgrounds. It was a lot of work. So the sooner I can learn how to implement these into 2D, the better. I also made a few characters, including the ring girl, who evolved into a goth by Zuri's request. We have the mother of the TV kid, who grows up and becomes the boxer for the protagonist of Fight Night 2. He's got a little muscle suit and green pants that look like the Irish screwball. He loves them. And we also have the real referee I made, who gets thrown away and turned into a baby. No explainable reason. And to conclude the presentation, I have Fight Night 2, where I worked with Jake and Zuri to create a sequel to Fight Night 2, because it's even better the second time. So you've already seen it, so let me just show you what I've done as a means to get this going. Storyboards. There's a lot of storyboards. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You guys can count with me. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and we're going to have some post-credits with an older rookie. We didn't get that far. I didn't get that far. It was a lot. I'm at my wit's end. We literally finished this morning. I'm on 3 donuts and a coffee creamer, guys. I'm shaking. We got style frames because, again, we wanted to keep a consistent vision in place. So we kept old and staticky, a little bit clearer because, you know, it's getting a little newer age in here. So it's not like yellow, it's a little more bluish, maybe a little more white, you could say. Kind of represent like VHS, DVD type deals. And I made a little After Effects demo of it as well to kind of test out how we can make this filter consistent throughout the entire project without having to, you know, go into After Effects individually and like bump each other on the shoulder like, hey, how'd you do this? Can you do this for me? It's all one like simplified animation preset. It's awesome. We still got it. I also like made some prototypes for some of the characters, like BB. She looked a little bit more skinny and shrimpy, and we didn't know where to put the shrimp, so we're thinking like maybe in their hat or in a hoodie or in the headgear. In the end, we got a pretty nice mesh between hat and headset. And he wasn't supposed to be green, that was just a placeholder. You guys really just pushed a green shrimp on me. It's cool, it's cool. I love him. Let's see, we also have Monster BB, where in the final act she gets fully taken over by the shrimp, and she just kind of goes rah, and attacks the TV kid full force. We had older designs where she was more transformed in the face with like actual mantis features, but that's really hard to animate. So we simplified and just gave her red eyes and bigger hair and the big and obvious shrimp on her to show like, hey, she's kind of cheating, guys. I don't know how to tell you this. And we also have BB's mother. Moving on, we have environment. Not much to say about the mother. She only had like one scene. Environments, I got the pleasure of making more of these at an even greater quality thanks to Tucker's tutelage and teachings. And I can introduce the boxing arena. There was like a little VIP room at the top that we didn't get to explore in Fight Night 2, but it was there and it really extended the render time, so we had to delete that or keep it hidden. And then we have the actual ring where the actual action takes place. It's very well lit, very red in contrast to the blues. Maybe Fight Night 3 will make it green. We have a hibachi shack. This is where the shrimp die. As well as, finally, BB's restaurant. We have 3 sections. We have the main restaurant area where she gets instigated to fight TV Kid. And then we have a little kitchen area where the dad cooks. And we have like an unused third room full of boxes where BB would procure her little shrimpy helper. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you for coming. That's my presentation. Goodbye. I love you. And I'm passing the baton over to Papa Zuri.
Oh, God. Thank you. Thank you. Hello. I am Papa Zuri, I guess. Let's see. Hi, this is my presentation. Just a quick overview of what we're doing. I have my demo reel. The first thing I want to present is my room, a character design that I did, and then my Wicked Sick that I did for Wayne's class, and a video game concept that I did for Tucker's class, and then Fight Night 1 and 2 again, but I'll keep it short this time. If I could put it in 2 times speed, I will, I promise you. But here's everything I learned over the semester, as well as my website. If you'd like to check that out, go ahead and take a picture of it real quick, message me. Here's my demo reel. Cool, great. Next. Thank you. My room, I called it Milkmaid's Diner. The first thing, oops, oh, not a mouse. The first thing I did is plan out my room, the diner. I came up with a lot of different concepts for it, different areas in the room. And then in the end, I was like, why not just do like most of it? Why not do it all? So my room turned out really big, but it's great because you don't have to look at the little details I messed up on. Anyway, we have some process shots. I'm keeping this short for y'all, some process shots. Here's a still shot of the whole room. And then here's the video of it. Cool. Great. Next, we have my ZBrush sculpt. I think out of everything I've done, I do enjoy sculpting in ZBrush the most. This is my character. We had to come up with a creepy character design, and this is what I ended up coming up with. I went through a lot of different phases of this, but I decided to just show my favorite concept art. And here is what the character page ended up looking like. Let's see. Here's some process work of me working on it. And then lastly, here's how it turned out. Doesn't have sound. I left it in a little GIF file for y'all so you can see the full turnaround. But I did really enjoy the process of working in ZBrush. Next, we got my window kitty. This was the first sketch I did of it. I did it on pencil and paper. Art is very accessible, guys. And then here's the process of it. This is it without lighting or texturing, really, anything like that. And for this project, I really wanted to work on learning ZBrush and how to better animate in Maya and bring my things over from ZBrush, not ZBrush, Substance Painter to Maya. Here's the results. It's just a little lo-fi beat of the cat at a window. Fire hazard, a cat sitting next to candles by an open window with curtains. That's great. Here's my character design and learning Unreal for a video game concept I called Resolve. This was my story exploration. My process with that. Here's some character designs I did. Some prop exploration. I really enjoyed drawing these. And here's how the video game, this was the first level, guys, but here's how it turned out. We just had to create a scene where they have to collect coins and then get back to the beginning of the level or the end of the level, wherever. And yeah, this is where he's trying to break out of prison. So that's that. And I know what y'all are all ready for. Fight night again. So many storyboards. This is Fight Night 1. I know Jake wrote a loose script for Fight Night 1. I did end up refining the script for both Fight Night 1 and 2. I wrote the whole script for Fight Night 2. And so, can I please put this in 2x speed? Great. Again, here's my part.
Look here, see? Buckles they got me that last Friday, yeah. You bet a lot of money on this screw on. It seems like they're screwing us over, see? Just wanted to come down and bring Sherry the head with screws around, yeah? They're looking more like a good screw. Now, you're gonna lose the screw. I won't lose. Yeah.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah, please. Go get 'em, Parker.
If mud's on that side, 50 times as fast as the mud zone. Why you saying that? Huh? Hey.
Yes. Stop. No, no more. Capstone. Fight Night 2. I'm just gonna play over my parts and do my reflection statement at the same time. So I had a lot of fun during my time here with my boys, Stefon and Jake. Elves with Guns was great. To all of y'all, I appreciate all of y'all. This has some cut scenes in it, by the way. We didn't end up using all of the scenes, but during my time here, I did learn a lot, having to do with Maya and Substance Painter, the whole creative cloud, learning all of that. Great times. And I plan to do a lot more in the future. I want to get into game design, indie game design, or cartoons. I think that'd be pretty fun. So that's what my plans are for the future. And I'm gonna just let the rest of this play out. I think the cutscenes are coming up very soon. So y'all get to see some behind the scenes cool stuff that I did. Right now. So this was just, this was a flashback scene explaining the brother. And why she has beef with him and why she beat him up so bad. That wasn't, that scene unfortunately got cut. But yeah. Well, you've seen all this besides this part, I guess, but you've seen the rest. I won't bore you with the rest after all of the cutscenes. But that's my presentation. Appreciate y'all. And I'm gonna pass the mic over to Abby.
Alright, so I'm right here, and then slideshow, let's move on. Alright, so my name is Abigail Kim Ramos. I'm glad you're all here today, and I hope you guys like Elves with Guns. I love them, they're my friends. Wonderful. First of all, I want to show you all my demo reel, which includes like a majority of the stuff that I'm really, really proud of. Yeah, look, demo reel. Curia? Nope. Nah, nope, be nice to me. Thank you. I'm glad this stage is a little more lit up because otherwise that would have flashbanged you and that would have been bad. But, yeah, I think the first project I'm going to show you is Going Home, which is a short montage. So a couple of scenes just tied together in a story. It's about a cat trying to go home and the world does not want it to. Wiggle around. There you go. All right, so there that was. All right, so you all should be very familiar with storyboards, given how many Elves with Guns did. I could not imagine. Yeah, as you can see, I broke down every single scene that I had into just a short little storyboard. I think I got better with storyboards as I went on, but this is a nice first attempt. Fun fact, this project was done in a period of 3 weeks, which sounds like a lot. It's not. I'm very happy with it. But the next project should be Maple Shade's Vengeance. For some introductions here, if you're not familiar with Warrior Cats, it's a book series that's exactly what it sounds about. Cats that are warriors. So yeah, very cat focused. This is just one of the books. We were assigned to do a title sequence just in case this was like a movie, theoretical movie, you know, fun stuff. Just wiggle it around. Thank you. All right, there it is. And once more, some storyboards. As you saw, I had a lot of holding time for names because in a title sequence, you want to give credit to the people with a good amount of time on them. And if a lot of them seemed a little weird, that is because at one point I ran out of names. I couldn't think of any. We were not allowed to use real people. So I started making up stuff, going to random word generators, and asking my friends for help. It was a great little thing. It was fun, a lot of fun little Easter eggs. And group projects. As you saw with Fight Night 1, we did a group project, and mine was called Tiny Titans. My group was made up of Garrett Moore, hi, Malaya Zerbe, hello, and Hora Wortlaw, who's not here right now, but I love her. The story, just to give a short synopsis before I show you, is 4 friends going on an adventure to defeat the great evil with the power of friendship and nothing else.
Long, long ago, in the land of Solitaria, there were 4 suits living in harmony. The diamond suit, known for their hardiness. The heart suit, known for their compassion. The spade suit, known for their level-headedness. And the club suit, known for their mischief. All was peaceful until the great shuffle, driving the kingdoms to ruin. The royal flush began his reign of terror, plunging everything into darkness. But from the fires of chaos arose 4 great titans. Now our heroes must embark on their journey to defeat the dastardly royal flush with the greatest weapon known to card kind, friendship.
Is that safe?
Friendship killed Diamond. It's gun time. Your cute little guns have a chance to me. Yes. That day, Royal Flush's grip on the suits was flushed away, and peace settled on the land once again, all thanks to the might of the tiny Titans. All it took was their friendship. And the guns that they found.
And I would like to talk a little bit as the credits roll. So, obviously, it wasn't just friendship, but it was great fun to work with my friends in this project. It really felt like we accomplished a lot. I will say that we are not professional voice actors. We didn't have a mic. Our mic setup consisted of us under my bed in 3 layers of blankets. But hey, listen, it's a college student budget. It worked out. Yeah, I also decided that we all needed little characters to kind of go down with the credits. It's cute. It's fun. I also had some extra time to do a couple of little extras at the very end that you'll see in a hot minute. Very simple things that I decided to do at the very end. It's fun. I needed something to really wind down after doing all of this. This took a while. Should go right now.
Hello, 2 shots of vodka.
Oh no. Oh, okay.
So there's where that came from. Yeah, I needed something to stay sane at the very end. It's fun. Now, if you would like to go forward, I won't show you the scenes again, but I just wanted to highlight the ones that I did. I did the intro, the credits, the first scene, and not shown here, I did the explosion. At first, we considered cutting it out for time, but I needed it to be there. It's a heart-shaped explosion. Come on. First, the storyboards that you are all very familiar with at this point. They were very short, but as always with motion graphics, they tend to be a little longer than the storyboards show. I designed Heart. As you all saw, they are all very car-themed. Specifically, we went kind of a casino theme, and the main characters were all based on the 4 suits of the cards: Heart, Club, Diamond, and Spade. I made Heart. She's got a bazooka. It's a heart on it. It's fun. And my 3D project is called Illuma. If you're wondering what it means, nothing. I made the word up. I will talk while the video plays because it's a little easier and it has no sound. So again, this was made in Unreal Engine. I'm not a programmer. I don't claim to be, and I don't want to be, but I made all the 3D models. I set everything up. I did some of the programming, and I did all the concept art, which took a very long time. If you're wondering why it looks kind of grainy and pixely, that is because I purposely went with a very low poly style. If you're wondering what that is, think of the older Zelda games, Mario 64, those very old games that came out back in the day. Low poly just means that they have less shapes on them. That's why a lot of them used to be so angular and simple and weird. It was very fun. I wanted to go for it, mainly because, 1, it's easier on me, who I am not a 3D modeler really, and also it kind of just looked fun. The concept for this game was that you were a little creature that takes a soul to the afterlife, and this is kind of like that area in between. If you're wondering what happens if you die when you're trying to take a soul to the afterlife, well, nothing good. I modeled all of these, obviously. It's just a quick little obstacle course because I don't know why I settled on one, honestly. But hey, it turns out that apparently it's a lot harder than it looks because, well, I was able to beat this level on my first try. The people that played it couldn't. It might just be because I play these kind of games a lot. But yeah, I wanted to focus on the atmosphere in this game. That's why there's floating eyeballs all over the place. Kind of give it an uncanny vibe. And yep, the very end here. There's no end screen. Didn't have time for it, but hey, it's fun. And as it's been explained before, we need to have a couple of game mechanics. Mine were pretty simple. Double jumping, as you saw a couple times. You can die. I'm showing that up right now. You can die. And there are spinning platforms, as you saw before. Come on, get on with it. There you go. Now she's gonna die right now. And I want to show some of the concept work I have. I'm not gonna linger on these too long, but as you can see, they're very plant themed. The soldier carrying through this game is actually a gardener, so focusing on plants. And again, just to give a little cute little thing, that platform you saw here in the corner and the rock you saw before are actually the same model, just flips upside down and repainted. It's just easier on me. And here's just like a display of all the 3D models. But fun fact, hi Miss Husky, here's one thing that I haven't told you. My computer wiped before I could save any of these to a hard drive, so I redid all the models in 1.5 weeks. I just didn't tell you, so you didn't worry about it. Here's the main character. They don't really have a name. It's just Analuma. It's a species. And I would like to show you now my capstone. Just to give a quick synopsis again, it's a story about a dog being abandoned as the apocalypse starts and having to live for a while like that. And let's go. And so there was that. I also moved to the animatic stage pretty quickly, and as you guys have seen that already, I'm not really going to explain. So the storyboards are pretty simple because of that. I'm very proud of the fact that I didn't really cut anything out. Only one little scene that I just didn't feel fit anymore at the end. There are some decisions I made on a whim. For example, the music, I didn't really mean for it to be there, but I decided I just added something nice to it. And the mustache on the dog at the end. Thanks, my classmates. I needed to go through with it after promising at the end. And here's some concept work. I'm just gonna run through it pretty quickly. Here's the dog. None of the characters are really named by merit of no one speaks. Again, here's some process, silhouettes, colors, and just sketches. Here's one for the boy. Very triangular, I love him. More process work for him. And the teen. I think in my head the difference in age is like 10 years, so he starts as like 6 or 7 and ends at 16 or 17. I know 7-year-olds are not that small, but it's fine, it's a cartoon. And so I decided to add a couple of little things to kind of just pay a homage to the fact that my friends really kept me sane. There's Malaya. I would like to say, keep an eye out for this picture. She's in at least 2 more shorts. There's Pope Rat. You will meet him a little later. And Transformers, because maybe I got a little into it during this year. It kept me sane. You can't blame me. Here's some environmental work. Just me getting the hang of what I wanted out of it. City. He spends a little bit of time in the city. And finally, some contact info. If you want, you can scan the QR code right there. Just take out your phone, aim the camera at it, and it should let you sign, like just click on the link. It's just to my website, just to see my portfolio and other things like that. I would like to thank my classmates, first of all. You kept me sane through the nights of stress. My professors who, I don't know how you dealt with us, honestly, sometimes. I couldn't deal with us. My parents, hi. Daniel for voicing the narrator in the Tiny Titans short. You, wonderful work. And all of you for being here in the first place. It's great. I hope you all enjoy the rest of us. And of course, next up is Malaya. Come here.
Hello, everyone. All right, let's get this show on the road here. My name is Malaya Zerbe, and this is my senior 2025 presentation. Here are just some of my socials you can reach me at, and down below are some of the programs I'm proficient with that I've used these 4 years. So I'm going to start us off with a demo reel. This will work. So the first project I want to present is titled The Spookiest Event. It is my montage animation, and the general concept is a trickster ghost trying to scare a very tired college student to no avail. So these storyboards show the various attempts of this ghost trying to scare this college student. Doesn't really work, really locked into that finals grind, until they decide to commit the cardinal sin of an art student, crash their computer when they haven't saved, losing all their progress. And let's just say they weren't very happy about that. So, without further ado, here's the final animation. And here's my second project you're very familiar with, the Tiny Titans. I'm just going over the stuff that I did. So first and foremost, I want to thank all of my talented teammates here. Without you guys, I would probably lose my mind. So I was responsible for designing this wonderful club jester here, Club, and his machine gun. I was also responsible for designing the final stage, and to kind of contribute to our casino aesthetic, I based off this stage off of a blackjack table and used bright and saturated colors you usually find in casino establishments here. I was also responsible for both Scene 4 and Scene 5 art animation, and along the way I did realize that I had to kind of tamper with it in order for the transition to 2D to 3D to be a bit more smoother. So we decided on when Royal Flush, our antagonist here, raises his hand up to crush diamond, that's where it would transition to. And yeah, that's, here is my scene real quick. Oh no, why are you being evil? All right, so then I was responsible for Scene 5. It's pretty on the nose, nothing too complicated here. Thank you.
Hey, Royal Flush's grip on the suits was flushed away, and peace settled on the land once again, all thanks to the might of the Tiny Titans. All it took was their friendship. And the guns that they found.
I still have a little few laughs from that. Oh no! Okay, my bad. Nope. All right, my third project is Patches and Perils. It was my 3D animation game. It is a low-poly platformer game that follows the journey of Patches here as he traverses through his creator. It's a giant bedroom, all while he is collecting items and dodging obstacles. This is the 3D rendered version of Patches here. And through the props, I just wanted to show that his creator is more of a crafty type, really enjoying needlework and stitch work. So I will quickly go through that. And then here are the rendered images here that I imported into Unreal. And then here, I just wanted to explore the type of lighting I would use, as well as where I would put my assets within the scene. I decided on a more warmer lighting, as it just fits the narrative a lot better. And here is just some of this scene here in my game, and it only has like a few sound effects, but I decided to put a kind of grainy filter on it, as it further supports the whole low poly vibe I wanted with this game here. Finally is my capstone animation. It is called Courier. My whole concept is that I wanted to revamp and reanimate the very first animation that I did all the way back in high school. So this animation right here is the original that I've done in Photoshop. And I will say, Jake, power to you, because I struggled with that. I will preface this, he is fine, he's a gliding creature, so no harm for him. So I knew initially that my main character, Wendell, I wanted him to be more of a smaller, kind of finicky type creature, so with that in mind, I created the silhouettes, and once I chose a silhouette that I liked, I started working on the interior and color palette, and then I finalized it right here. And then you'll see a second character called Mildred. Mildred is more of his guardian type, and she enjoys cooking, so I wanted to reflect that with her design. And this is her finalized concept here. And then I just wanted to explore some of the scenes that you'll see within the animation. The first one is Mildred's living room here, and this is a finalized illustration of that. And then the outside, she lives on a farm on a sky island, so I wanted to reflect that within the illustration itself. And then the storyboards, these are quite loose because I went straight to animatic just so I could get the timing and general flow of the narrative down. It's a little bit, there were just some revisions, but nothing too much here that I cut out. And then lastly, here is Courier. I will preface this beforehand. Instead of dialogue, I decided to use chiptune. I got really inspired by my favorite game, Undertale, and if you don't know what chiptune is, it's just a repeated sound rather than words, so I just didn't want to scare anybody with that. Once again, these are just some of my socials and where you can contact me at if you like my work. And just want to say thank you for listening. Pleased to introduce Destiny.
Let's go. All right. What is up, everybody? My name is Destani Ford, and welcome to my senior presentation. I am so happy you all are here and get to witness our glorious arts, especially mine. So first off, we're going to start with the demo reel, showcasing my best stuff I'm real proud of. If anybody wants to hit me up, get me a job, do me a solid, thank you. All right, so next up is a work called Homebound Hermit. It was a collaborative work between me, Madison, and DeAndre, who's not here. Madison, thank you. It is an animation about a little hermit crab that's just trying to, or not a hermit crab, but a little crab that's just trying to make a new home. is the name of the main character, the main girl who helps Jimmy, helps Jimmy the Crab make a new house after he tried and failed to make one on his own. And Crazy Crusty Oceans was our group name, CKO. So I was in charge of, I made the turnaround for Rayvin, and I made most of the backgrounds of the animation. Here is me exploring the colors for the overall thing. So this is daytime, this is sunset, and this is nighttime. And my thoughts, I'm really proud of it. Honestly, did a lot better than I thought we would because we had less group members than other team members. Like around like 4 was the standard, but we had 3. Thank you again to Madison and DeAndre for helping this project come to life. I'm really proud. And let's move on. So next up is Kitty Mischief, which was a 2D montage animation where it's about a cat that gets into no good while the owner is away. All right, so these are the storyboards that I made. Pretty direct. And my thoughts are that honestly, it was just a giant love letter to my cat because I really adore her. She makes every day a lot more bearable, and I would not be the same person without her. And there's a picture of her, the main inspiration of the whole thing. Next up is Child Zone, which was a 3D environment model that I made. I chose to make a model of a children's room. I felt like it was simple in my comfort zone, and I'm proud of it. I like it. So these are some of the concept sketches I did. I was more fixated on the lighting than like the actual contents because I figured lighting was like the eye grabber. I really wanted that beam of light to come in from the window because it was just in my mind. Could not stop it. But I also made some like the toy shark, the plush shark, books, dolls, or I don't think the dolls made the cut, but I wanted to add posters and stuff to make it really come to life. And, you know, this project helped me realize that modeling is not so bad. And I actually had fun, and I like enjoyed making the little props and knickknacks to have a little place come to life. Which brings us to my capstone, which is a little 3D modeling and animation project where I made not one, not two, but 4 rooms. So all 4 rooms had their own themes. It was cute, nature, silly, and punk. This is the cute room, which is more pastel, bright colors, plushes, really cute stuff. This is nature, which I added a lot of greens and plants, and I wanted to have it be a bit more formal. This is silly, which I made it more like a little cute children's birthday party kind of area. I really like the frog dresser sticking its tongue out. And this is the punk/emo room that I came up with, and I always wanted to add like the sound effects coming out of the speakers. This is like concept artwork I did. I was focused more on the colors than anything else. Here's like work in progress for the modeling before I added textures. And my thoughts are, I am actually very proud of how it all came together. I feel more confident. I feel like I really can tackle a lot more modeling jobs than I used to. And I should go out of my comfort zone more often and model things that I wouldn't even think of. Thank you all so much for watching. I am so happy to have done this presentation for you all. And without further ado, I am going to introduce the wonderful Eliza.
Hello everyone, thank you for coming. I'm Eliza Henry. Most of what I focused on this past year has been working on like 3D environment design and also motion graphics, so that's mostly the kind of stuff that we're going to be looking at for my presentation. But first, of course, the demo reel. Let's see. First up, we've got my themescape after school. So for my themescape, I went very loose with it. It's basically just 3 kids getting up to weird behavior after their parents don't pick them up after school. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with colors. I actually revamped it for this, and I'm glad I did because you'll see in a minute what it looked like before. Of course, I was proud of that, but I'm really glad that I went back and gave it my all because I love how it turned out. The original kind of style frames. I just wanted to show them so that you could kind of see what I started out with color-wise, and I just messed with it a whole bunch until I liked it. But yeah, I really wanted to go for kind of like a poppy, very like bold kind of vibe. But yeah, I'm trying to think of what I changed the most. Probably the lockers and that kind of thing. But yeah, this probably taught me the most of what I know with motion graphics. A lot of working with layers and just a whole bunch of keyframes, like too many, arguably. But yeah. Up next, oh wait, we got our storyboards. If you look at the third one, you can see that that also changed. At first, my ending was going to be kind of like this book of necromancy that they flip through magically, and that kind of thing. And I ended up switching that to the whole candles zooming by. And I'm glad I ended up switching that just because I feel like it fit the vibe better with the color scheme and everything like that. But yeah. And now we've got my infographic, and all you really need to know about it is that it's about JFK. Okay.
And he's about to debate Richard Mother Trucking Nixon, and he is a mess. And he's like, I'm riddled with Addison's disease. He could speak his backers. He's got one of those classic migraine. And his buddy is like, I know something that can help you. And his name is Dr. Max Jacobson, aka Miracle Max, aka Dr. Fieldhead. JFK's like, cool, get that doctor in here. So, in comes Dr. Fieldhead. He comes in, and JFK's like, hey, I got Addison's disease. And Jacobson's like, you're gonna get my super special magic elixir. Give me a bunch. Holy moly. Maybe it's late to ask, but hey, never too late. It's never too late to ask the question, what is in this? And Max Jacobson is like, number 1, vitamins. Number 2, there is enzymes. And then finally, don't freak out, with the last ingredient, it is placenta. So now, JFK is President of the United States, right? So you got RFK as his right-hand man. He's got another right-hand man, his left-hand man, Dr. Fieldhead. Now RFK started to get a little worried. And he's like, I'm going to find out what's in this thing. Through medicine testing, bebop boop, out come the results. It's meth.
So here are again, kind of like the style frames, kind of the vibe that I started out with when I started animating. I also with this one changed colors a lot, but probably even more so. because with this one, of course, I wanted to go with kind of like a 60s kind of theme, but that included muted colors, which I never ever used. So that was very interesting, but also really cool. It also taught me a whole bunch of effects and After Effects to get the kind of like blobs that I wanted and waves and all that crazy stuff to make it really interesting, even though it's mostly just still characters and text. So, we've got the storyboard. This is kind of the colors that I started out with that I hated. But yeah, a bunch of things changed in between making the storyboard and actually animating, but of course After Effects made it super duper easy. So I love doing this, it was super fun. All right, and my third highlight project is Solo Riff, which was my 3D video game that I made. We can go ahead and start it on the sleeve. Here we go. But yeah, so it's just showing Tomas, who is a 16-year-old wannabe rocker who's on his way to his band's show, but he has to collect 10 guitar picks before he actually gets there, because his guitarist is kind of notorious for throwing the guitar picks into the crowd and then going, oh crap, I can't play guitar anymore. So that's his grand mission. My favorite part about this project was probably like the graffiti and just adding all of the decor and just trash everywhere. It was really fun to just dress up these kind of just like brick and whatever buildings with a whole bunch of different decorations. And that's the band show. All right, and then this is the concept art for Tomas. I really wanted to focus on making him obviously like an angsty teen, but also adding some pops of color so that he popped out from the background. Let's see, and then this is some of my favorite concept art. We've got, of course, the cop cars that are kind of hiding, but if you fall into their beam of light, you go to jail, aka just die. And then we've got, of course, like Chicago pizza, because at least in my brain, it's set kind of in Chicago. And then, of course, cigarettes, which was Moe's idea, I'm pretty sure. And we've got like our detour sign, which despite it being Asset 6 was kind of where I realized the kind of style that I wanted to go with. So that was weirdly my favorite, is just this random sign. Yeah. And now we've got my cap stuff. With this one, I mostly focused on hand animation just because I hadn't done it in a while, and I find it really fun. But then I tied it kind of all together with motion graphics, mostly using them for the background, and just to kind of pull the whole story together. So yeah, I'll just begin. Is kind of like this concept TV show in my head. So this was basically just like a fake kind of movie trailer, show trailer kind of vibe, just introducing our characters. They have, if you can't tell, kind of like roles that people might have in a heist, but they're obviously not very good at them. But it still kind of works out eventually. So these were my initial kind of character designs. They, of course, are a little bit different from what we end up in then, but at least the left one really helped me figuring out what kind of colors I wanted to go with, because I knew I wanted to go, of course, as I usually do, with a bunch of bold, vibrant colors and that kind of thing. And then these are some of the storyboards. A lot of the time, whenever I do storyboards or any kind of pre-production kind of thing, I like to start out on my sketchbook, just because then I feel like I can be really messy for whatever reason. It's where we all begin. But yeah, there are a couple of scenes that got cut or something like that, or I just felt like something else would work better to communicate the idea. So one of my favorite ones that ended up getting cut was the idea of Julian, our smooth operator, actually being a master of disguise. So you can see on the middle one, I guess, is that he was going to try on like a bunch of goofy disguise gear, like giant glasses, or a big nose, or a stupid mustache, or that kind of thing. Yeah. Thank you very much. thank everybody for coming out, especially my family. Thank you for being with me all of my life. Amen. And I want to introduce the great and magical Nick.
All right, how are y'all doing? Good? Good, awesome. I'm Nick. Hi, thank you for coming. We appreciate it. And this is my senior presentation. So as just like everybody else, I'll start with my demo reel. So starting things off, I wanted to start with one of my first game projects I did here, which was for Art 2070. We were tasked with creating a 2D platformer level in the Unity game engine. And leaning into that, I wanted to kind of design a character with jumping as kind of their natural ability. So I was like, what if I did a demon bunny girl who's collecting coins to pay her way out of hell? Because she's like, I'm too good for this. So here are some of the assets I made for the game, including the background tile set, some background elements. I had a lot of fun with this. Here is a GIF of the player sprite and the coin. Pretty happy with how all that turned out. And here is a quick preview video of the final level. With that lovely jump sound effect we're all so familiar with here. Moving right along, this was another game project I did for our Art 3070 final project, which was doing concept art and a game design document for like a theoretical game that you would rather make in the future or help somebody make. And mine was called Red Revenant, where it was about it was a first-person dungeon crawler game I was envisioning about a guy that gets turned into a half-demon and has to explore this cool post-apocalyptic demon wasteland. So here were some of the environments that I came up with. This was going to be like the first level, kind of like a ruined city, desert vibes, and then kind of what I was picturing the game would look like from that first-person perspective. Second one was a like demon city, kind of, you know, gross, but kind of ooh, with like the purples and all of the lights and all that fun stuff. Some environment and items, interactables that I was thinking about adding to the game, all that cool stuff. Here was the main character that I came up with. I just called him the Revenant. I really, really liked how his design came out. Still really happy with it. Got some portrait options there as well as a face close-up. Here was my turnaround for the character as well as an attack skill cut-in, and I'm still like, man, that looks fire. And then this was going to be the antagonist, Lucifer, real cool guy, who turned the protagonist into the half-demon for his own nefarious deeds. Moving on, next game project, wow, I like video games. was for Art 4070, which was a 3D game project for Unreal 5, like you've seen with some of the earlier presentations. So instead of going with the platformer genre, which would have been the easy option, I was like, I'm going to make a third-person shooter, which that is very difficult. And it kind of bit me in the butt a little bit, but I'm still happy with how it turned out. Here were some level design sketches that I came up with early on. Upper left was the rough sketch. Lower right was the final one that I came up with. As you can see, it's pretty similar. Some environment sketches, mostly focusing just on lighting and kind of the color that I wanted to go for. The protagonist character sketches, I kind of had a vague idea of what I wanted from the outset, but it was just nice to refine, add some color in there. This was what I came up with at the very end. I added some blue in there to contrast with the orange, which I was a pretty big fan of. Some of the models that I made using Blender, totally recommend Blender. It's fantastic. Had a lot of fun doing it. And here is a quick preview video of my level. Okay. For my capstone, I decided to do another game project. Wow, cool. But I wanted to take everything I learned a step further and basically make a fully finished playable game that I would self-publish on itch.io by the end of the semester. So it was about 3 months worth of work. And I ended up using the RPG Maker game engine since it was something I was already a little bit familiar with, and thought it could speed up the development pipeline a little bit. So this was my rough timeline that I was trying to follow for the most part. I was really happy with actually being ahead of schedule at the very end, where I ended up having the game complete about a week ahead of my initial deadline. Here's some protagonist sketches that I was coming up with. Again, kind of had a vague idea of what I wanted, but always nice to iterate, get something a little bit better. Here are some assets that I made for the game, such as a portrait icon, full body art, the window GUI, some icons that you can see in the game, as well as some various screenshots of the game environments. And here is a quick gameplay preview of the finished game. Oh, and so the one thing that I didn't do is the music, just full disclosure. I found royalty-free music, but everything else I did. anybody interested, I actually published this about 2 weeks ago. If you are interested, I do have a QR code that you can scan that links directly to the game project. So wait like 5 seconds if anybody wants to do that. And it's available for Windows and Mac. It is free, by the way, 100% free. Cool. And so the future, what comes next? After graduating from here, I plan on continuing my game developer journey, whether it's for a larger corporation or just as a hobbyist in my spare time. I'm excited to see what I make next, and I hope you guys are too. Thank you very much. Now, please join me in welcoming our next presenter, Ray.
Well, hello. Hi. Oh, okay. What's happening? Is this how you treat me? Okay, I see how it is. All right. Open sesame, please. Thank you. All right. Hi, my name is Rey Young, and this is my senior presentation. So a little bit about me. My artist name is Sinmas with 2 eyes. You can find me on YouTube and Instagram, and below is a link to my website. Feel free to check it out. And underneath are all the programs I have a lot of experience with. And to get a little sense of my art style, let's check out my demo reel. Let's start off strong with my 2D ball bounce animation. It is every aspiring animator's nightmare. So here you go. And well, hello. Oh, there it is. A little fun fact is that this was my first animation project that I ever did. Oh, look how cute he looks. All right, so my infographic. If you don't know what an infographic is, that's okay. So basically, it's just a visual presentation of a specific topic, and my topic of choice was angels. And I was just curious about how angels are shown in media versus how they are depicted in the Bible. And so I broke down the narrator script in my storyboard, and I depicted the informational visually in an infographic. The most important thing you can do is timing and pacing. And obviously, I didn't mention, but I'm also an illustration major, and I love to draw. All these components were drawn by me. And the backgrounds. And here's my final product.
Angels. Even if you haven't touched the Bible, you probably have an idea on what they look like. They're those elegant, heavenly beings with long white robes, swan-like wings, perhaps a halo top for good measure. We also know what angel babies or cherubs look like. Those small, chubby, cute infants grasping a bow and arrow. The kind of thing you might see in a Valentine's Day card. Except, well, that's not what angels actually look like.
Not according to the Bible. These are biblical natural angels.
this is going to be hard for me to explain, but this is my Unwanted, my 3D survival horror game. For this class, we were assigned to make a 3D game in Unreal Engine, and plus making our own character. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not the best well, I'm not even a programmer, and I'm not the best 3D modelist, but I was very proud of how this project turned out. So let's start off. I compiled all the information from my level design document, and I made my mood board. So my concept behind my game is a boy walks into a campsite, and the campsite is inhabited by a demon that loves eating children. So that's very ironic he walked in. And so the mood board is supposed to depict this retro kids summer camp vibe mixed with some horror elements of Slender Man. Or I was highly inspired by the game Slender Man. And so again, I said I love to draw, so here are my 20 assets of prop design. And yeah, I wish I could stay in this section of the project because I just love busy work. I'm a process artist. And yeah, and I also love designing characters. If I could, I would have stayed here, but I had to start to model. And I decided to start off with my characters first because I knew it was going to take the most time because I am not good at it, but I definitely shocked myself in how my models turned out. And here is me scaling and trying out proportions to make sure that it was easier for me to go into my next part, and that is doing the other props. And here are all the finished rendered models. I did them on Blender, and then I downloaded the UV maps into Procreate, and I texturized it in, yeah, Procreate, sorry. And here is the final model for Linus. So basically, he took me about 5 computer crashes, multiple file corruption, and Maya did not want to save my progress. So I'm surprised that he even is here. And here are some of my environmental sketches that helped me place all my props in Unreal Engine. And here's the final product. Capstone project. So I hypothetically wanted to make my own TV show, well, animated TV show, but I just wanted to focus on the character sheets. And you might be wondering who these magical beasts are and what they have to do with my capstone project. Well, these are my 3 huskies, and I want to transform them into misfit graffiti artists. Yes. So I designed 3 full character sheets. So I got some inspiration from nostalgic kids TV shows that I grew up with from the 90s and the 2000s. And here's when I started world building and creating my mood board. So I had to ask myself so many different questions of what is the art style gonna look like? What, since I'm turning my dogs into humans, what do they wear? How do they hang out? Where is the, sorry, wait, I'm finding it. What is the world they're living in? Is it futuristic, is it present, or is it in the Victorian era? I don't know. And obviously you can get to know a lot about somebody by seeing their room. So I thought that was an interesting part to add.
And obviously the premises of the TV show is graffiti art, so I thought that was a fun mood board to create. All right, here is the silhouette. So I interviewed my dogs and asked them questions about who they are, and they gave me a little bit synopsis on what I should make sure to incorporate. And these are the silhouettes that I came up with, and I just wanted to focus on the body language before I even worried about any of the details. So afterwards, I filled in the blank. And I love fashion, and this part took me a while, but I didn't realize that another part was going to take more of my time, and that is finding group harmony. So it took multiple rounds, as you can see. I was making sure that I give each individual character enough time so I didn't have any favorites. And so, obviously, since it's a group effort for 3 characters, I want to make sure the harmony was there. Let's see, what else was there? Yeah. I eliminated some of the outfits that I really like, but I made it even harder for myself. I said this process was hard, I even made it harder for myself. I cleaned up some of my sketches, and I rendered them so I can start actually figuring out which design I like the most, but it was even more difficult. So I asked anybody and everyone that was available to answer my question and be like, which design do you like? And I gave them a personality guidelines to like help me out. Yeah, and these were the outfit winners. So we have Momo, Yuki, and Alpha. And I wanted to use my animation skills, and I didn't want to just show you guys like 3 character sheets, and I made a little video for AO3. So these are my babies again. So these are all the character sheets inspired by each dog. We have Alpha, who is blue, Momo, who is red, and Yuki, who is yellow. And thank you so much for listening. Make sure to check out my website. If you know anybody that wants to turn their pet into an awesome character, hit me up. And yeah, thank you very much. And next up is the Amazing Angel.
All right, hi, my name is Angel. I have no correlation with Rayvin Beachboard, I assure you. And today I'll be showing you 4 assignments I created throughout my entire time here within the concentration. But first off, I would love to show you my demo reel. right, so first off, I would like to introduce Darkology. It is a theoretical game that I created for one of my classes. And the overall story of Darkology is imagine a world where the supernatural exists, but not many people know about it, so they just kind of fear it in a way. And so for that, a archaeologist by the name of Ophelia makes it her job to kind of understand more about it. And with her, she has a little companion named Artemis. And one day, she explores a castle in Romania. So to start off, I created 3 different characters: a protagonist, a secondary character, and a non-playable character, or NPC for short. I gave myself 4 different silhouettes to work with, just so I can have a better idea of how I wanted these characters to look, and overall just playing with different designs that I thought would be interesting. So first off, I have my primary character, Ophelia. I was playing around with what her personality would be like. I wanted her to be approachable, but also on the same side be someone you don't really want to mess with because she can stand up for herself. Next, I have her full design. She has a lot of just earthy tones and overall just vibes that you would get from an archaeologist. Her design actually has huge inspiration from Indiana Jones. It was one of my favorite movies growing up, so obviously I had to put that in there. I did consider giving her the hat, didn't. It was too on the nose. And a little fun fact, her last name is inspired by my mom. Next, we have Artemis. This is the maned wolf that is her loyal companion. They have a spiritual connection. And for that, I wanted to make sure that Artemis looked very mystical, and that is shown within my full character design. I gave them very just white coat and blue eyes, just to make them also stand out within the environment, because the environment is mostly dark, and that's just kind of something that you would experience. Next is the non-playable character, Catrix. He was really fun to play with. I really love playing with goofy characters. He is the vampire that you encounter, but he's not a threat. He's just a goofball. So here is his full design. I was heavily inspired by Dante from Devil May Cry 3, hence the whole entire no-shirt, red coat, if you know anything about the game. And a little fun fact about his last name, that is another way that they called Blackbeard. Here are some main bosses. We have the mother, the daughter, and the father. I wanted to make sure that the females have similar color palettes and the males have similar color palettes. So as you can see, very similar to the mother and daughter are very similar, and then the father and Catrix would be very similar. And then next we have basic enemies. We got spirits and cult members. Obviously within a supernatural setting, you're going to encounter spirits, and you also will encounter cult members, because this game does take place within an abandoned castle, so that's this free real estate for the cult members. Here we have the castle in question. I was just kind of playing around with what I wanted the castle to look like. I was looking at a lot of pictures of castles in Romania just to kind of get a better idea of that. And just kind of playing around with the colors. Next is a catacomb. I love catacombs. I think they're really interesting, and it was just really fun playing with different colors and lighting and how that would work. Next, we can't have, cult members without a ritual room. They kind of go hand in hand. This was also fun to play with when it came to lighting. I'm not very familiar with environmental art, so this was very fun for me. Here I have the final boss room. I looked at a lot of I wanted the room to be very crystal looking, and so I looked for what would be the most powerful looking one, and quartz is said to be pretty strong within that period. Here is final concept art. I went with the catacomb and the outside of a castle, and I have included some stakes because this game was kind of inspired by the fact that I was very interested in the original vampire, quotes heavily, Vlad Dracul, who was just a very aggressive man. Here is some props I created. It's only a few of them. Most of these are ones that you would either have on your character or be used by a character, such as the spear or a flashlight. Up next, I have what I lovingly titled the Muse and Music. This was my themescape that I had a lot of fun. It was my introduction to After Effects, pretty much. So the concept is, one day I was just listening to the line of sight from Odessa, and I kind of got this visual of someone falling into the water. And also the music itself was very melancholic but hopeful, and so I centered my entire themescape around that concept. But first I would like to show you my storyboards. Here, everything on my storyboard is one-to-one what is in the animation. So everything you see here is what you'll see within the animation. I created some style frames to help me get a better understanding of what my animation would look like. So first off, I have the first thing I ever created, which is the visual I saw. It was 12 a.m. I went frantically to my computer and made that. Here I have a forest. Catrix is back. I have my ending sequence, and I have a bird. That is a cardinal, because that is our state bird. I felt it necessary. Here I have a city, and I also have a terrain. Without further ado, I would love to show my themescape. Next. Up next, I would like to introduce The Nest. It was a group project I created with a couple of my peers, in which their names are Kat, Moe, and Rayvin, two of which you'll meet later on. Basically, our idea was to recreate the story of Romeo and Juliet, but what if they were rodents? So to start off, I created more of a leading narrative character named LW. He's an exterminator that called upon to take care of a situation regarding stolen objects from a garden. But first off, before I show anything else, I would like to give an honorable mention of a character, Pope Rat. He was mentioned earlier. I was tasked with creating a Frere Lawrence character, and one thing led to another, and Pope Rat became existing. So, storyboards. I was tasked with creating the ballroom dancing, LW going through the sewers, and the wedding, which was very brief, and the leading death to our Mercutio character, Crocchio. Here are some props I created. The most important part of this is the orb, and you'll understand why eventually. But first, I would love to show you what the animation is. Oh God. There we go.
Sweetie, are you in pest control?
Yes, ma'am. My name's LW.
Wonderful. Come on over. This is where those devilish creatures are wreaking havoc on my yard. They took this, and even this.
Oh, there they are. I'll head inside so you can go on and get started, sugar.
What's troubling you, my dearest Raccoonio?
was not the one to take the orb, I don't know how I shall go on.
Well, a little birdie told me about a masquerade ball being hosted by the opossums tonight, all put together just to display the orb.
Are you suggesting?
At last, I have my capstone animation that I've titled Omen. This is something that I eventually will plan to create into a webtoon series. This is something I've had just a huge connection to making. It's just been a huge idea for me for so long. So the basic story of Omen, a special team's created by the police force that has one task: take care of any crimes committed by those who have gifts or special abilities. But what are they supposed to do when one of the culprits of these crimes is one of their own? So, to get my idea of this animation, I had to create a mood board first. I really just needed to understand what my mood would be, how dark I wanted it to be, just overall get a better grasp of this just animation. And I have some character concepts I created. First off, we have the main character named Evan. He is the spinner character I've had for so long, and I'm just happy to be able to finally make him into a full-on animation. One thing that kind of just I use mostly, but it's outside of his clothing to determine which version of him is actually within the animation, is his eye color. If it's just regular him, his eyes are blue-green, and then they're yellow if he's just evil, you know? Up next is his wife, Chloe. She is a doctor, so she's wearing scrubs. I really wanted her to just be very kind-looking and just, I love her. Next we have Alex. He is related to the big evil of this animation. He's very skittish and but also very yeah. Next is his brother Lyle, adopted, obviously, as you can see. He's from Norway. He was going to be in the Olympics, but he has behavior issues, so they said no to him. And he's from the clothing, you can tell that he's related to Vikings, and he just overall has the strength of Vikings. Next is Robin. They can just basically fly and or drive anything. That's just what they can do. They're basically the getaway driver at any point. Next is some Ash Demon. It's just the embodiment of Evan's suffering. He's able to summon this at will, and it's just also like a play off of his ability, which is smoky ash related. So next I would like to introduce some visual development. This was something that I put a lot of work into creating. First off, I have the poster I created once upon a time. I really enjoyed making that. It was fun to play with lighting. I have a art I created whenever I was using Evan as a character for a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. And then also I have an assignment that a picture I did where I just kind of took a picture from a peephole and just put Evan in the peephole. Here I have his weapon design. I went through various colors and asked friends for help regarding that. The winning color was the purplish red, and I honestly think it's really nice. It works well within the animation. Here I have some style frames. These will pop up within the animation spontaneously. These are just kind of show what the animation would look like if I had the time to sit down and create this fully. And also, I wasn't able to fully touch up on Evan and Chloe's relationship. So I would like you to just imagine that this picture right here is just their wedding photo. So some storyboards I would like to show. As you can see, this is not a lot for what the animation actually is. Kind of shot myself in the foot with that, but it was kind of fun to freehand a fight scene, even though it was a nightmare, but it was quite very just fun, and I was happy to get this together, and it turned out as well as I expected. So, without further ado, I would love to show you Omen.
A recent string of murders overtaking the city. Not much is known about the culprit, but every victim has been found in various dark areas of the city, with no evidence left behind but the body. Officials believe that the culprit is someone with a gift. The STFD has been involved. Only time will tell if this reign of terror will end. Officials strongly encourage you to not travel alone at night, at all costs.
Lastly, I would like to say that this presentation is dedicated to my late cousin, Gabriella Austin. She passed around the beginning of this semester, but it was thanks to my classmates and my friends that I was able to get through all of this. And I just want to give a huge thanks to all of them. This semester was really rough for me, but like I said, it's thanks to all my classmates and my friends that this was able to be possible. So thank you all. And without further ado, I would love to introduce Rayvin.
Hello everyone, my name is Rayvin Beachboard. I am a animation interactive design senior, and this is my senior showcase. And let's just go straight into it with my demo reel. Project that I would like to talk about in my presentation is my Wicked Sick project. You may not know what a Wicked Sick is. It was a project proposed to us by our wonderful Professor Godwin. We were tasked to create something that was, and I quote, not just sick and not just wicked, but wicked sick. This project was a great exploration into how 2D concepts and character designs translate into 3D models. As you can see, I've provided my concept art for Cool Guy and his little bunny friend. And here we have some of my storyboards. These are my first, well, some of my first ever storyboards that I've ever properly done. And it's our cool guy meeting a not so brave bunny friend. This project was meant to be fully 3D with 3D models, character rigging, and animation. But as you will see in a second, it did not come to pass. This is the first and only video ever taken with the cool guy model, as it was my first model that I ever rigged myself. Incidents were going to happen. But nevertheless, we persevered. And here is the final product. Some quick reflections. Like I had said, this project had a lot of ups and downs, especially with the character Cool Guy himself. It was certainly a learning experience. I learned a lot about modeling through this course, modeling, texturing, or how lighting affects certain textures in the Mayascape. And above all, I would like to believe that this assignment certainly taught me that, above all else, I am resourceful. Next, I would like to talk a little bit about the nest. I won't go into too many details as our wonderful Angel already explained the premise. I had a lot of fun working with the Varmint Studios crew, Angel, Moe, Kat. I personally was in charge of character design for Crucio and our Possumet, as well as a handful of background characters you may have noticed in the initial film. I was given the wonderful opportunity to animate the most, I would like to say, visually striking moment of our animation. All I really have to say is I am so grateful to my team for giving me the opportunity to do so. And I would just like to showcase my section. A few quick reflections. Just a few quick reflections. This was one of my first big group projects. It was a lot of fun, and I certainly had a lot of fun. And it was a great exercise in general for action animation. Next, I would like to talk about my project, Something is Wrong Here. As some of my other classmates presented their own themescapes, I wanted to highlight mine as well. My particular theme for my themescape was Uncanny Valley, which is more so generally the sensation of something is wrong here. Now, the characters on screen right now, they are not officially my main characters, but I would like to say they certainly stole the show. Here are my refined storyboards for my themescape. With these, I wanted to mostly focus on different camera angles that I wanted, transitions, how they would flow, and just the overall color palettes for each scene, how they would work together. And here is the final video. This was one of my first projects almost solely done in After Effects. That was a challenge for myself that I wanted for this project. It really allowed me to push the boundaries for creepy character design, which still kept it in the realm of animation for my particular skill set. And to date is my second most favorite project. The first of which is my capstone, Heart of the Sea. Now, Heart of the Sea is a 4.5 minute long by hand animation film about a pirate who, off the record, is named Hollow, who meets a shark siren, and this discovery changes his life forever. As you can see, I've provided both their concept designs as well as a mood board that I made for this project, just to try and get a feel of how I wanted the vibe to be. Instead of showing my storyboards for this project, I thought it would be best to, well, there wasn't many storyboards as I jumped straight into an animatic. I felt it would help me more so than storyboards would for timing, and as this was a labor-intensive project, I figured it'd be better. And of course, this is not the full animatic. These are what I like to call the highlights of it. And without further ado, here is my final capstone. introductions. This was my most labor-intensive project. I believe, all in all, the animation itself took about 41 days to complete. It certainly renewed my love for by-hand animation. It reminded me why I came to this school in the first place and why I chose this program. And to date, this is my greatest accomplishment. Thank you for listening. Here is some of my contact information, my email, and my website. So just a few of the applications that I am proficient in. And without further ado, I would love to introduce our wonderful Maddie.
Everyone, my name is Madison Adcock. Thank you, Rayvin, for introducing me. I'm here to show a few of the projects that I have created throughout my college life. If only I could have put more, but that would have taken way too much time. So these are only about 3 projects and then my final capstone. There's a few places that you can find me and kind of take a look at my art. And then these are just a few of the programs that I've used. I've used, I think, a few others, but those are kind of the main things that I used overall. Now, to start out, we are going to start with my demo reel. Now, the first project that I want to talk about a little bit is my stop-motion animation, The Magic Notebook. This was one of the classes that I believe we had about 3 different projects to do throughout that whole semester. And I have had stop-motion experience before, but I did add a challenge and decided to do a paper puppet instead of the usual, clay ball bouncing. I was like, you know what, let's do something different. And so this is what I created. Wanted to put a little humor in there because why not? You have creative freedom in art. So essentially for this, my character Ira, she found this magic notebook that anything she draws in it, it comes to life. Hence why she made a cake and she was able to eat it. And then the creature that she made, because she's like, you know what, this won't hurt me. Oh, I was wrong. And then something that she spent a while on, she set it up. She's like, yeah, this works. And it falls on her. She's fine. This is a little bit of the progress and a few different kind of insight to the character herself. This short little video here kind of was the original paper puppet that I had used. I eventually ended up giving her joints on her elbows to kind of give her more articulation and more movement. And on the very left, you can see all those little pieces. Yeah, I had to print that out about 2 times because you never know when one will tear, break, get stained, and you need a piece for every little part that you want to be able to have movement and kind of feel a little more fluid. And so with that, I want to talk about my Wicked Sick. I call this Restocking Medicine, and I will play it, but I will talk over it because it's just a loop. But this is a character I made named Maple, and she's a medic restocking medicine. I'm really happy with this. I was able to kind of use whatever programs I wanted, do whatever I wanted. There wasn't really a limit to this, and so I did something that I knew I could do, and yeah, I'm really happy with it. And so for this Wicked Sick, I started out with 3 different ideas to kind of pick and choose from. The first idea is a surfing bird. Birds have somehow been a thing for me since 2020 and kind of got me through that whole thing. Idea 2 is the same medic, Maple, tending to a person of our organization. And then the third one is, as you saw in the beginning, what I ended up with. And I had to kind of narrow it down to about 2 ideas. And since I had 2 of Maple, I was like, I can cut one out. So I went with idea 1 and 3 to kind of hit it off with. And to kind of explore the idea that I wanted for kind of each of them, I made a really brief storyboard to kind of explore, like, okay, I have this amount of time to do this. Can I do this within that amount of time? And so based on that, I went with idea 3. And the third project I wanted to talk about, you've already seen before. Hold on. Homebound Hermit. This is the group project that I was part of with Destiny and DeAndre. I had a lot of fun with this. Very proud with how the whole thing turned out. Now, she already showed you all that. I'm just going to show my stuff. This is kind of just a compilation of the different parts that I animated. I won't play all of it right now because they will play again later, separated. But yeah, I've never done a group project before with multiple people working on one thing. So that was definitely a challenge, but it was super fun. I believe this is the longest animation that I've been part of, that I, helped along with. I think this was, 3 minutes or so? So it was long. So the storyboards, these are just the 3 that I worked on. I mainly focused on the animation aspects. It's just the girl kind of saving the crab from the seagulls, and then her making a little home for Jimmy, and then helping him into the castle. And so these are the animated parts that I did in the animation. Yes, I washed him up on shore because why not? And for the top one, it's hard to see, but I animated the flag at the top. You could probably see it better in the full animation before. And yes, that was a very long shot, and that was the whole repeated part. And so this is a little bit of the different progress parts that we had. Most of it was kept in the original. I believe the one in the top middle, that one was tweaked a little, but because there were only 3 of us, it was a little hard to kind of have enough shots for everyone to have equally, so we would swap a few, and it turned out really good. And I learned a lot from this. I did use a new program, Procreate Dreams, that I had just gotten, and ooh, love-hate relationship, I will say that. And for the finale, I'm gonna play this is my capstone that I spent the entire semester on. And ooh, wow, it was a lot of work, a good challenge, but I am so happy with how it came out. Honestly, I think it came out better than I expected with how much time we had to work on it. So I will play you A Sister's Revenge.
Please tell me. Were you there? The gang killed him? At least answer that before I...
Your brother got involved with something you shouldn't have. He paid the price. He deserved it for getting us busted out. Whoa.
You talk too much. You won't do it. That is for my brother. Continue to search tomorrow. Don't press Alice. I won't hit you.
This was the biggest project that I think I've worked on so far in my life, and I'm just, even still watching it, I'm just like, I really did that. This is the storyboard that I made for it, and basically the main character, Callie, is going to avenge her brother, who was killed by this gang called the Coyotes, and so she's kind of hunting them down one by one, going through the town, and she meets one of them, and she gets her revenge, and goes on to search for the next one. And these are just these are the majority of the backgrounds that I made. There are a few other ones, but were kind of just slightly different, especially with the sky having changed the time throughout the animation. I'm still not great at backgrounds, but I will say I have improved a lot. And this project really was, this really showed how much work it is. And in the previous projects, you saw how my character sheets weren't very professional looking and neat. Well, I've gotten better. These look much more professional. I've always been so fascinated with creating characters, and so I make characters all the time, even if I don't do anything with them. But I know these two, I want to bring them back into animations in the future. They were really fun to create, and my style has definitely changed. I could have used the style in this, but I didn't have time. But along with that, here's some of the character pieces, and then a cool like dual shot, kind of like a poster style frame type of thing. Yeah, there's some of the bandit, and then there's some of Callie, and then her picture of her and her brother. And then here's a little bit of the progress. I believe I did a good portion of this in Dreams, and I did put it into Adobe Premiere and a few other things to kind of put it all together. But yeah, I don't think I used all of the art I did myself. Oh my gosh, I'm surprised my iPad did not fall apart without. I have so many photos of each of the frames and everything, but it's been a journey, and I'm so glad that I've made it this far. And with that, I had so much fun here. My friends, family, thank you so much. On the good and bad days, you've been wonderful. And I want to end my presentation here. Next up, my good pal, Claude.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Hi, Mom, wherever you are out there. So I'm just going to be real brief, because I know everybody's probably hungry right now. God knows I am. So yeah, I'm just going to be showing you a couple of the things that I've done throughout this semester and throughout my 4 years of being in school. So first, I'm gonna start you off with my demo reel.
And what terrible crime is that?
So the first project I'm going to talk to you about is the 3D room project that I did for Hillary Husky's class. So the whole main objective of this class was to basically just create a 3D space that would fill up with various props and decorations. So the whole idea that I went with was doing a 1940s living room, but with futuristic aspects and all that type of stuff. So these are just my props and concept sketches. So it's just basically figuring out what the heck am I putting in this room? How do I want it to look? So I just kind of experimented with different colors, different shapes, and different organizations of the objects within the space. So here are just a few of the 3D rendered shots of how it ended up looking, with my objects in it, with all their glory, and here's the actual video for it. Okay, now for everybody's favorite project, the 3D game project. So this game was quite the experience, to say the least. A lot of fun, but it was definitely a challenge, and I feel like it's removed a couple of years from my lifespan, but indeed worth it. So the whole objective of this was to, obviously make a 3D game level, and it had to have 20 different aspects, with the environment and the mechanics to go with it. So I kept things real simple, just to avoid more headache, because there was already quite a bit of that. And also to kind of just experiment, because the low poly style isn't something that I usually do. And the title of the game is Summit, where you play as a demigod who has to get to the top of this mystic mountain to attain full godhood. So these are just some of my concept drawings and sketches. So again, just me experimenting, playing with color, shapes, and just figuring out how I want things to look. Right. And then here's my character sketches. So I did 4 different ones all together, playing with different looks for this one character. I forgot who commented, but they said that they liked the one on the far right because it looks like he has abs. But and then the finished one right there is me, just putting everything together. All right, so next I'm just going to show you the environment sketches. So this is just to better visualize how I want things to look in the 3D space when I actually put them into the game engine. And here are the models, and this is how they ended up turning out. And there's my character. So now I'm going to play the gameplay footage, and here's me struggling to beat my own game. Enjoy. Okay, so my third project, this is the infographic project. I actually had a lot of fun with this one. So the whole premise of this was to make an informative style video for any random topic of our choice. So I eventually decided on doing the dead man walking tornado that touched down in Gerald, Texas in 1997. It was really devastating, but very creepy too, and you'll see in the video footage. So these are just some of my storyboards. It's just me trying to figure out how I want each different scene to look and how I want things to move and the overall color palette. And then here are my style frames, which is just to give me a better visual representation of how I want things to look in the final product. And now I will show you how everything turned out.
On May 27, 1997, a violent F5 tornado touched down in central Texas. For the next 13 minutes, the violent twister would tear through the area near and around the town of Jericho. During this time, the tornado would take on several different shapes, with the tornado going from a skinny rope tornado to a monster wedge. But this tornado was most infamously known for taking on the dead man walking multi-vortex appearance. The tornado also moved incredibly slowly, and at one point, it stalled over the Double Creek Estates neighborhood. After the tornado had passed, nothing was left, not even the debris from the impacted homes. 27 lost their lives in this historic tornado.
All right, and lastly, the long-awaited animation project that I did this semester, Kaibutsu. So, this randomly started out initially as an idea that I had for a manga slash comic about a year ago. And initially, I never really did anything with it. But this semester, I thought, you know, what better time to capitalize on it? So, I decided to make an anime intro for my theoretical show that would be releasing. So, here are just some of the storyboards that I ended up doing. And the funny thing about the storyboard process of this whole process is like so much changed. I got, you know, a lot of ideas and I ended up changing things, replacing and taking some things out that I feel didn't fit. So it's been like a constant, like, you know, just sprint the entire semester, but it's been really fun. So here's just a couple of my background assets that I really liked doing. Those buildings literally took an entire day, but we don't talk about that. I really liked how I ended up making the mountains look, but overall, I'm just very satisfied with how things panned out, given that I am not the best at doing backgrounds. So this is just some rough footage, you know, just the project in its very beginning stages, kind of sloppy, rough, hence the title, but But yeah, this is just me laying things out and, you know, just putting things into Adobe Animate to figure out the timing and how things are going to look. So, now I'm going to show you that. Miss Amy, I'm so sorry I made you wait so long. I know you were nervous. I know you were nervous. I'm so sorry. So, first off, I want to say thank you for everybody for showing up. Thank you to our wonderful professors. You guys have been so helpful. And just thank you for being here every step of the way and putting up with my never-ending questions. I want to thank all my classmates. You guys have been really fun to work with. You know, one thing that I will always take with me is those late nights upstairs in 1301, 1303, excuse me, whatever the number is. But and then I want to thank my parents, my mom, even though you were late. Yeah, I'm calling you out, Mom. I want to thank God for just allowing me to get this far, and yeah, that is all I have for you. And next, I'm going to welcome up the very talented, the very wonderful Moe Osipenko.
Hello, my name is Moe Osipenko. I'm just going to get right into it and start with my demo reel. First project I'm going to talk about, some of my classmates have already introduced it, so I'm not going to spend that long on it. Title sequence, I decided to use T. Kingfisher's book, What Moves the Dead. It's a gothic, kind of Victorian book, so I wanted to represent that in the illustrations I did for it. So these are storyboards. I'm very detail-oriented when it comes to them. It makes it easier for me in the long run. So again, frame by frame, what's happening, what the movement's going to be, and what names are going to appear. Second one, wow. And then this is the title sequence. the next project is my animated logo and loading sequence for a pre-existing company. I love Halloween, so I went ahead and did Spirit Halloween. If you don't know, which I feel like most people do, Halloween store pops up and then disappears after Halloween. So using the pre-existing logo, creating a animated sequence. So storyboards, again, very simple. Logo already existed, so all I did was draw the bats in and animate the actual elements of the logo. Loading sequence, so this would be if the page was like loading. Again, Halloween, so I just did the zombie hand coming out of the coffin because it could be looped and it's fun. This is the logo. Now we have the loading. So with this, it was definitely, since it was a pre-existing logo, I'm very detail-oriented in my personal art, so I thought it was going to be a lot less fun than it was, but it taught me a lot more techniques in After Effects, and I actually enjoyed it a lot, even though it was something much more simplistic stylistically than I'm used to. And the next thing is my themescape. So this, I wanted to incorporate themes of religion and cult mentality, and create kind of a grungy feeling using edited photos and illustrations, pulling inspiration from religious trauma, because I was raised Roman Catholic. It's friendly fire. So yeah. So these are my storyboards. Transitions were a very important part of this for me, so that's what I wanted to focus on. So using, like I said, combination of photos and illustrations. And editing in After Effects. These are two style frames, so we have an illustration, and then we have photos I edited to create that collagey, scrapbooky feel. And this is the themescape. So, capstone time, yay! So for this, I wanted to create the fictional world of Helm Sweep, which is something I initially came up with in my last spring for my illustration capstone. So I wanted to create that in a 3D world in Unreal Engine 5, and I wanted to model what would be the main character if it was a hypothetical video game, but I didn't want to do coding again, so I just wanted to make it look pretty. So we'll get into that. So these are my inspirations, character, the world. It takes place in like early 20th century. It's a fishing, whaling village, very desolate, very remote. As you can tell from my other stuff, I like things that are kind of depressing and sad looking. So, same with the character, malnourished Victorian man, very sickly, yeah. These are the initial environment concepts. So I started in my sketchbook just getting the shape and everything laid out, where I wanted stuff to be spaced out, size. I've got something a little bit more defined. I didn't want to spend too much time on this because I wanted to go ahead and get into modeling because that takes me longer. Assets, props, I wanted to keep things flat in the sketch phase so I could focus more on texturing. I kept things modular, so basically I could just model them and then plop them into Unreal and I could build them, so like Legos almost. More assets and props, same thing, just things you would find around the village. These are some renders of the final props that I was using. So I've got like a wall, toolbox, crate, a buoy, a harpoon, a lamp. Ooh. Initial character concepts. I already had an idea of what I wanted Lock-In to be, but I still did silhouettes because it's good practice, and just in case something came out in them, I played around with the idea of him having mobility aids, just because I don't think there's that many video game characters that have physical or visible disabilities. So it's an important thing. This is the final sheet, so I've got the turnaround, action poses, expressions. Again, he is not healthy, so we've got the sculpt and ZBrush, and then I've got the turnaround. So I definitely want to keep working on this and have it fully textured, painted, have it more stylized, but I'm happy with how it turned out in ZBrush. The clothing and his appearance, I feel, matches the character sheet. And then we have the final of the atmospheric cinematic of Helm Sweep in Unreal. Thank you. That's my email and my website. I'm looking for work. Again, shout out to my laptop for holding out for Unreal, even though it turned my cold drinks into hot drinks. It survived. It's still fine. Thank you to my wonderful professors and my classmates for supporting me. Thank you to my family, especially my mom, and my wonderful friends. Yeah, thank you, and coming out and supporting us. And next up, I'm introducing, last but not least, the talented Garrett Moore.
Last one, y'all. Yeah. Who's ready for lunch? Let's see. All right. Oh, I'm having a little bit of a old. Oh wait, we go on the. How do you get to the second?
Big monitor. It's the big one.
Oh wait, I feel like.
Where did you put it?
Do you mind coming up here, Mo? I'm so sorry.
I don't know.
Bless, thank you.
That's because you minimized PowerPoint.
Oh. Thank you so much, Kim. I am a Windows user, so I'm pretty sure that's probably obvious. Oh, there we go. Thank you so much.
I'll make it go. Oh, it's not.
should put like magician on your resume. Thank you so much. Hi y'all, my name is Garrett Moore. It is such a pleasure to be the closing presenter today, and this is my capstone presentation. Start out with my demo reel. When I started college, I was scared to create. I still am sometimes, very oftentimes. I was scared of being wrong, of not being enough, but that isn't true. Our beauty is in our inherency. I leaned into discomfort. It took a long time. I embraced it. I let myself learn, and I let myself question, be myself. I'm still becoming, and thank you all so much for taking a part in that growth for me. So after the emotional gut punch, let's start out with the wicked sick. Something wicked, something sick, something that absolutely did not let me sleep. Love you, Wayne and Laurie. For this project, I did a sculpture of a torii gate, which is part of the Japanese culture, and I did rocks alongside it just to create an environmental feel. This took a lot of time, just adding in wood and other additional details, as well as an Oni character itself, just to study the male figure and musculature systems within men. Of course. I tried playing off as academic, but y'all already knew. Here's my Wicked Sick, which is also uploading this character into Adobe Mixamo, adding some motion capture to the character, and then presenting it as if it were to be in a fight environment layout for a video game. Mash and Marvelous Designer, Oni's Back Part 2, Dynamic Terrain, Trees, Fog, Simulated Cloth, Crashing. So much crashing, I almost took an insurance policy out on my computer. But I am a student, so with the student budget, unfortunately, I couldn't do that. A lot of patience. Let's talk about Arnold Scene Source, otherwise known as the .ass file extension. With this, we have a lot of information in Maya, and that's how we are able to transmit basically how we do our art. So in this top screen right here, we have some trees that are very heavily detailed, lots of blue, a lot of vertices. This basically impacts your computer's performance time when you have a lot of these trees in a scene. And so the second here on the bottom is just a bounding box, and this is what the ASS file type is. It shows the size and where the object is in 3D space. And it references the detailed parentheses file for information on the high detailed model. And it's just much faster.
Is that the real name of the file extension?
It is, and I actually included a screenshot just for that question, so I'm glad you asked it. So this is actually from the website. I have gotten an as not found error before, but fortunately, I don't think they were talking about me. My parents blessed me pretty well. So let's see it in action. So what I did is I sculpted some terrain, and I then randomly assigned a whole bunch of trees, thousands of trees, which are all of these little blue squares. And then you can also see fog volumetrics, which are these brown squares, and then as well as some rays of light. And so what this built up to is basically the layering process for how I create 3D art. So you start off with your viewport, your base ground mesh, trees, your fog volumetrics, your clouds, mountains, a sky background, and then your final composition. And you can also see that here as this breaks down as well. That's not all, though. So this was the second part of my project, Marvelous Designer, which I've been doing in an independent study with Professor Husky this semester, in which we actually are able to simulate and make clothes. So as you see the seams on your clothing, that's where it's stitched together. So we can virtually simulate this stitching inside of Marvelous Designer, in which I'm actually able to draw out clothing on a 2D plane, simulate it in a 3D field, and then have it attached to a character as well, while adding things like wind and other simulations to make it more dynamic. So this is what the Oni character looks like in the software. You can actually see certain parts of his character himself are more stretched. So for example, his chest area, which is the larger area on his body, and as well as the actual clothing items itself being smaller around the chest area where it connects to the sleeves, you can tell where it's a bit more stretched in like a compression tank top versus the bottom of the shorts, which are very loose and low hanging. I did this to allow for the wind simulation, which you'll see here was the base simulation of the character to have that really nice effect as it's falling through the composition, which is this. Infographic animation, Venera 14, Venus, one of space history's most iconic accidents. Romeo and Juliet, really. Except Romeo is metal and Juliet is 870 degrees Fahrenheit. Thank you, NASA, for that fact. Even with the mishap, it was a groundbreaking mission. And so for this project, I modeled the lander and spaceship in 3D, which I'll see very soon, did the full 3D process, and my goal was really to combine cinematic visuals with scientific storytelling. After all, this is the lander that deployed its soil measurement arm directly onto its own ejected camera lens. So I started with some 8K textures of Venus and our pale little blue dot known as Earth. And I took these textures and wrapped them around a sphere just to get planets, as well as completely modeling the actual lander itself, as well as the spacecraft that got it there. This was a render that I took of the spacecraft as well. And here's the infographic.
In 1981, the Soviet Union launched a probe named Venera 14. The probe was headed for Venus, and its mission was to land on the Venusian surface, take some photographs, and to gather data. In 1982, it made a successful descent, and this is one of the photos it managed to relay back to Earth before it succumbed to the extreme Venusian climate. Before any photographs could be taken, however, the system would automatically eject the lens cap protecting the lens of the camera. An ejected lens cap can be seen resting on the ground in this photo taken by a preceding identical probe named Venera 13. But in the Venera 14 photo, the ejected lens cap landed here, the precise location at which this spring-loaded metal arm was intended to strike the ground to measure the compressibility of the soil. Instead, Soviet scientists back on Earth received the data on the compressibility of the lens cap.
Capstone. This part is the heart of it all. Literally, my capstone is a 3D anatomical heart, which is a symbol of everything that I've carried throughout this degree. I had the idea while working at the ECU College of Nursing as a simulation developer. Love y'all, College of Nursing IT team, Quan, Josh. And I was like, what if I made a virtual reality heart for education? So I did. The adventure begins, and it started with the idea in so many emails. I applied for an undergraduate research and creative activity, otherwise known as an IRCA grant, and I humbly received a generous $890 grant to create a VR medical education tool. My Outlook went through it, the email software, not my personal reflection on life, but I had a great time with every single email that I was able to write. Making the thing, trademark. Full 3D process, y'all likely know it by now. ZBrush to Maya to Substance to Arnold Renderer, which is a renderer to be able to have the information visually presented to us, and Sketchfab, which allows us to actually interact with the heart. Had a lot of hotkeys that were in my emotional support, and if you'd like to see the capstone, here's the link. For brevity, I'll also provide that to you if you come up to me personally after the capstone. So this is the multi-layered aspect of how I created the heart. You have a lot of information, and I wanted to do the heart model that I had justice to be able to visually transmit it in a way that actually would allow it to be used in pedagogy and academic environments. And this is what the heart looks like as you interact with it. This is done on a computer, but in VR, you actually have the headset on and spin the controllers around to look at the different parts. You might notice, too, you actually have labels based on the section of the heart that is being presented to you, so you can be able to incorporate that into your memory. That's not all of it. I actually had the pleasant opportunity to present my research at the Research and Creative Achievement Week, otherwise known as RCAL. It was amazing letting people try on the headset, and waving at people from inside the headset thinking I couldn't see them was absolutely underrated. And the poster is actually in the back if you would like to take a look after the presentation today. Here's what it looks like, but if y'all would like to take some more time, don't worry, I'm not going to read this out. RCAL, the sequel, Capture 180. From the website, it states, the objective of the challenge is to describe your work to a general audience in 2 to 3 minutes using one static slider prop. I was actually humbly selected as a finalist in the Capture 180 research competition, and you can watch it online. Also, I will provide this link if you so request afterwards if you would choose to watch. This was the slide that I used behind me. You'll note it in some pictures that I'm about to show you. ECU Scholarship. My research has been submitted to the scholarship repository, and they graciously accepted it. It's an absolute pleasure to have it in the archive, and I look forward to referencing it back to as I continue to advance. Here are some pictures from some of those days. So you can see doing the Capture 180 preliminary round, and then I got whole hooked up to the audio settings for the final round, hanging out in VR for a little bit, and just showing off people. Exploring the different research posters that were at the RCAL week was absolutely incredible. There were so many varied subjects. I just was absolutely humbled to be there. And I'm also extremely humbled to announce I'll be committing to East Tennessee State University for my Master's of Fine Arts degree for the next 3 years. I got this on note cards just in case if I cried. As the last senior presenting today, what do you even say at the end of something like this? What's the right way to close a show that we've all poured our entire hearts into? And I realized there isn't a perfect ending. That's kind of the point of the whole journey that we've already been on. So I stopped searching. I paused. I listened. This is what my heart responded back with. And this is what I say to each of you. Thank you, and I love you so much. What do you even say after that? If you'd like to get in contact, here's my contact information. Yeah.
Your tears gotta cry.
There we go. But thank you so much, everyone. It's been a pleasure. I'm going to miss you all dearly, but I'll always be here. Thank you.
All right. Well, congratulations to our amazing seniors. Again, we're so very proud of you all, and you did a great job today. I
know some of you are very nervous about talking, and I think you pulled it off very well, so good job. Excellent job. Congratulations to all the parents and the families and friends, and thank you for supporting them all this time. And let you go, get some lunch. Please feel free to take some snacks on your way out, but please do sign the sign-in sheet for us. And yeah, thank you.